And these trends are becoming more popular, more used, and more impactful because it opens up or starts a discussion. So with that, we are here to open and start a discussion. But before we get into top 10 trends, I want to warmly welcome the chair of the ICSB board, Dr. Kishan Kim from Korea, to give us an official welcome and start to the webinar. Dr. Kim?
Okay, welcome everybody, my friends from all over the world. First of all, I found ICSB, the megatrend, the top 10, recognized by UN MSME Day homepage. So that means the UN and the UN MSME Day is considering ICSB as the right partner to collaborate with us. So first of all, I congratulate these kind of things. This is done by the ICSB President Ayman Taravis and Kyle and Sky. So Jung also. So then that means we are recognized by United Nations, and we are going to have more responsibility to diffuse the top 10 megatrend for growth engine of MSME. So thank you very much for joining with us.
Thank you, Dr. Kim, the chair of the ICSB board. But before we get into the presentation, why don't we do a tour de table and get everybody to introduce themselves? So I'm going to quickly defer to the immediate past chair, Dr. Winslow Sargent, to give a big welcome.
Greetings, everyone. This is Winslow Sargent, immediate past chair. Greetings from Washington, D.C.
Great, thank you. And the incoming chair of ICSB, Vicky Stalino. Vicky?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this webinar. It's really, really great to be part of the top 10 trends and to see the growing influence of ICSB. I'm in the world's other great capital, Canberra in Australia. Thank you.
Great, wonderful. And then I would like to introduce the interim president of Seton Hall, a good partner of ICSB throughout the years, Dr. Katia Pastorini.
Hello, everyone. A pleasure to be speaking with you tonight about the top 10 trends.
Wonderful, thank you. And then I'll go with Dr. Jung-Ho So from George Washington University. Dr. So.
Hello, friends. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Nice meeting you all. I'm glad to join this fascinating webinar to talk about the trends for 2024. My name is Dr. Jung-Ho So, Professor of Management at George Washington University School of Business.
Great, wonderful. And then Chief Operating Officer of the International Council for Small Business, Mr. Sky Blanks, and a George Washington Presidential Fellow. Sky?
Hello, everyone. Greetings. Super excited to talk about top 10 trends and artificial intelligence. And so looking forward to that and join us in more events. Thank you.
Great. And Mr. Kyle Leon, an alumni of George Washington University, an expert in AI and data analytics and much more. Kyle?
Hello, everyone. My name is Kyle, and I'm currently doing data science with Space Force. I'm really happy to be here and happy to hear and talk about the trends.
Great, thank you. And then our latest acquaintance and partner and a family member of ICSB, Mr. John Choi. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is John Choi. Thank you for having me here today with you. I'm working for Hyundai Motor Jungmungu Foundation. It's a very small foundation compared to Bill Gates Foundation, but we are working very hard in Korea to make social change. So nice to meet you.
Thank you. And then our ICSB board member and the host, the chair of the ICSB World Congress in Berlin, Dr. Hartmeier. And good morning, Dr. Meyer. It's early in Germany, but good morning.
Good morning to everybody. It's 4 o'clock here in Germany, so I just woke up. I hope everybody is doing very, very well. We are here. I'm here today, this morning in Essen. We have got a big conference from the FOM talking about the future. I'm happy to hear with you.
Very good. So let's get to business right away. We have top 10 trends to go over with. So let me share the slides real quick, and then we'll go through the order as well. So let me see if I can do this correctly without any hitches. Okay, tell me if you, I'll see them in a minute. Enabling. And let me see. Okay. And I hope you see the slides. Kyle, you see the slides?
Yep, looks good.
Very good. So we've been, let me tell you a little bit of the context of the ICSB top 10 trends, how they come to be, what's the methodology, what's the process, and how we move forward with it. The ICSB top trends is a continuing story that ICSB has started in 2015. And back then, and we started paying attention, ICSB particularly started paying attention to a lot of the conversations that a lot of different stakeholders in different parts of the world and different types were talking about micro and small medium enterprises. And vis-a-vis when the World Bank and then started talking about employment and MSMEs back in 2015 and 2016, ICSB was paying very close attention to what the World Bank was saying. And the World Bank was saying that 600 million new jobs are needed in the next 30 years just to keep pace with employment, with just maintaining the world's development. Also in 2015, the United Nations came out with the Sustainable Development Goals. These major milestones, these major messages coming from around the world, ICSB as an organization, as the International Council for Small Business, and representing micro, small, medium enterprises and its 4 pillars, which is research, education, policy, and practice. All these information shared with us were impacting SMEs or micro, small, medium enterprises. So since 2015, 2016, ICSB, through its partners around the world, but through our own research, we have 2 major academic journals, Journal for Small Business Management and the Journal of the International Council for Small Business, started collecting this data, this information, this noise that was coming out from all our stakeholders. And internally, with ICSB, with its partners, with its colleagues, started trying to forecast, develop, analyze, and diagnose any of those words to saying, so what happens next? What's the next big thing? What's going to impact micro, small, medium enterprises? And until 2019, 2020, ICSB kept track of these trends, but never formalized them as a top 10 trend. But since then, we decided, once we were at the forefront of all of these topics and understood, we kept seeing trends over and over again, we decided to declare ICSB's top 10 trends for 2024. And first of all, we have not seen any organization around the world putting out trends for micro, small, medium enterprises. We've seen trends for gadgets, for electronics, for cars, for fashion, for media, for music, but as an important part of every economy is the micro, small, medium enterprises. So we thought, and we felt, based on our members, based on our experts, based on our history since 1955, that we could put a stake in the ground and saying, here's what we think of the top 10 trends. And we've been doing them now for 4 years. And every year we see more people using our trends for discussion and dialogue from across the board around the world. So we do not call ourselves, wizards looking in a magic ball and telling you exactly what's going to happen. But we're comfortable saying these are things that are important for micro, small, medium enterprises. These are things that you in your country, in your university, in your city, in your community need to think about. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't, maybe you disagree, but a dialogue is always important. So since then, we started putting these trends forth every year, every January with the new year. And what's exciting about this is there's a lot of traction to these trends, and a lot of people are paying attention to them. And we're delighted to see that our partners at the United Nations have also put them on the website to allow for more knowledge sharing. So we want to thank the United Nations and the media team and everybody there to understand that this is important to move the needle towards supporting MSMEs. So how do we do it? Based on a lot of discussion, a lot of data collected from our research articles, from what's being posted in the media, from discussions, from our world congresses, from our events, we start collecting data and start kind of resonating and discussing them internally with different stakeholders. And at the end of the year, It's an internal meeting that happens, and we get to kind of work through the process of which one is first and which one is second. And usually there's a lot of consensus. You know, sometimes there's dissent, and we need to go back to the drawing board and rethink it through again, and we change it. So it's a very democratic process. It's a little bit of a long process here, but we're comfortable with them, and we're delighted to have them. So how does it work? So what we'll do today is we're going to start with the top 10 trends, starting from the 10th, moving forward upward. Some will cover very briefly, and some will get into deep detail because we don't have a lot of time here. So, and what I'll do is I'm going to ask some people to just jump in and talk a little bit about the topic, just to give you an idea why we think this is important here. So let me first start with the top 10 trend for the 2024, and we'll start with number 10. Okay, access to sustainable finance. So with that one, it's not just about providing funds. And there's so much money out there now. It's what I say it's a little bit ridiculous how much money is available in the communities here. Everybody can get access to funding, even from GoFundMe, there's money there available, right? But what's interesting about this top 10 trend at number 10 is the word sustainable, right? And that's the descriptor that we want to add to it. Money that is being provided, that's fueling this growth, needs to have a leverage to it, an added value to it, which is we call sustainable finance. And as you can see, we even color-coded it 10. I'm going to ask my Dr. Winslow to jump in on this a little bit while I got a little bit of water here. My throat is getting dry. Dr. Winslow, you want to jump on this a little bit? Are you on mute?
Yes, when we talk about sustainable finance, we talk about, we know that the number one challenge that small businesses have is access to capital, is access to sustainable or to efficient capital. And by being able to have the funding that you need, that means that you're able to expand. Of course, in light of the world we live in, it's with inflation, with the devaluation of currency, it's been a challenge for SMEs to get sustainable financing. And so that's why we want to highlight this, because from what we hear, for those who want to do trade and who want to, who want to get access to various markets, they know that they need the type of financing that it is affordable and that it is sustainable.
Great, thank you. So we start with number 10, access to sustainable finance. Now let's move to number 9, the 9th trend that we see for 2024, and that is tourism and sports for MSMEs, development and growth. And I'm going to defer to Dr. Jungho So, an expert in tourism and hospitality, to tell us a little bit about this trend.
Thank you, Dr. Tarabichi. I'm so glad my home base, the tourism industry, travel industry, tourism and sports industry, made it to the list of this top 10 list for 2024 by ICSB. So as someone who's geeking out on the data, numbers all the time, so I looked up some data before this meeting. As our organization, ICSB, is good friends with UN, and we are working with UN all the time. I looked up the UN's data. UN has a specializing industry in the tourism industry, which is called UN Tourism. They rebranded it recently, like 2 weeks ago. Formerly, it was called UNWTO, UN World Tourism Organization. Now it's UN Tourism. So in their report in 2022, this report was released during the G20 summit. So UN Tourism joined this G20 summit, and they released this number. So MSMEs are the backbone of the tourism sector. So it makes up, MSMEs make up approximately 80% of the entire tourism businesses around the world. So that's quite great impact, significant. We can see the level of significancy of the MSMEs in the travel sector from this number. One more fact and the number that I'd like to throw in this discussion is MSMEs reach as much as 98% of the national economy in some G20 countries. that's really high impact, considering the percentage and the impact, not just numeric impact, also the qualitative impact of it too. One last fact or a story I'd like to share to talk about this trend number 9 is my class. I teach new venture initiation class. It's part of our entrepreneurship major program. I asked my students to pitch their new venture ideas in session 1 in the first week of the class. Interestingly, I have close like a 30% of my students pitch their idea in the travel sector, business idea in the travel sector or the sports sector. So that's quite a big jump from my previous year's course of that ideas of business, new venture ideas in those sectors, sports and tourism.
Great, Dr. Jungkook, thank you so much. This is now the number 9 trend, tourism and sports for MSMEs, development and growth. For the 8th trend, I'm going to defer to the chair of ICSB and the founder of this trend. And it was actually started in 2015. Let me move to the next one. Here, humane entrepreneurship, coaching and mentoring of employees. Dr. Kishan Kim, you want to talk a little bit about this? And then we'll get also the other speakers to talk about it.
Yes, yes. I am so glad to be selected humane entrepreneurship as the big trend of micro and the soft SME. So after we discussed about the humane entrepreneurship, in many countries, in many areas, a lot of outcome are happening. So, for example, so the many CEO, many manager in company wanted to control, wanted to direct, but the employee doesn't want to be engaged. But with the humane entrepreneurship, the CEO, entrepreneur lead them. And then they are giving the more chance to encourage them and inspire them, train them, enable them, discipline them, empower them. Then they made a lot of innovation, very excellent performance. Then CEO wanted to share more with the employee. So employee get started to be engaged more. So then I have a lot of statistics about the good performance of humane entrepreneurship. Today, I am going to introduce Mr. Kim. When he started the leadership of a CEO, actually this company is not good in performance. After he adapted the humane entrepreneurship philosophy, this company is getting better and better, almost number 1 in industry. So I wanted to introduce Mr. Kim, the CEO of insurance company of the practice of humane entrepreneurship.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Kishan, just talk a little bit more while I pull up the video. Just give me a minute while I pull up the video, please.
Okay, so you can do or I can do?
You can go ahead and do it. If you have the video, please play it from your end.
So can I share this one?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, so then actually sharing idea then.
Okay. Tell me if you have it.
Okay, so give me 1 minute. Yeah, so then.
Yeah. Okay, if you don't have it, Let me know.
DGB Life Insurance Company in Seoul, Korea. First of all, I am very honored to present the 2020
No, Kishan, we don't see
okay.
the video.
event. I would like
Okay, we
to
see it.
thank
Okay, we see it.
Professor Kim Ki-chan
What?
and
Now.
other officers from the
please?
International Council for Small Business
Yeah.
for inviting me to this precious occasion. My insurance career began at Global Life Insurance and now spans 3 decades. After being named CEO of DGB Life Insurance in 2020, I began to fully implement humane entrepreneurship, a business approach I've continued to practice in earnest. DGB Life Insurance is a small insurer with capital of $400 million, total assets of $4.5 billion, and 207 staffs. This is by no means insufficient for the conducting of humane entrepreneurship. While using this model of the past 4 years, I thought long and hard about what a CEO's most important role is. My conclusion was that a company must create the conditions for employees to voluntarily get immersed in their duties and pursue their dreams, as well as build a staff-oriented organizational culture where the workforce can nurture creativity, rise to meet challenges, and have their mistakes forgiven. To that end, I commit to and practice the 5 E's of empathy, empowerment, enablement, equity, and ESG. Empathy is at the core of these 5 E's. It's about trusting my employees and putting them above everything else. I always stress 농명, or a deer's cry, as a basic value. When most animals find food, they eat it alone until full. And if there's anything left over, they hide it. Humans do the same. But deer, a beautiful animal, cry when they find food and call other deer and share it. This practice of calling to others results in no deer falling ill because they share their food. The second value I emphasize comes from a Confucian saying, when you make those close to you happy, people from afar will also be drawn to you. So when staff are satisfied, your customers will be too. I never tell my employees to treat customers well. Instead, I always tell staff that they are my customers. If I treat employees well, I truly believe that they will treat their customers well in turn. As a result, our net profit show a huge turnaround from negative $8.5 million in 2019, before I took over, to $52 million last year. So this is why I always stress the rule of people first, staff come first. The second E stands for empowerment, an important part of responsible management. To implement this, I stress hiring the right people for the right jobs, rather than just translating another's writing. We should strive to create our own text from scratch, to take the initiative in everything. Unfortunately, a few employees possess such an ability. Working as a translator has its limit, so I encourage everyone to strive to be an author. King Sejong, the greatest ruler in Korea history, advocated the rule of hiring the right people for the right jobs, or Im Hyun-sa-neung in Korea. He assumes power in 1480 and ruled for 32 years until 1450. During his reign, he used empowerment and emphasized in importance of assigning the right people to the right task. It's important to distinguish people deemed reliable enough to perform 13 tasks, and those who simply have the skill to do a job. King Sejong invested a lot in finding the right talent, and this is why he became a highly revered ruler who laid the foundation for the Joseon dynasty. I also strive to follow his teachings by empowering my staff and building an organizational culture in which mistakes are forgiven and employees are transformed into authors. The third is standing for enablement. It is essential for developing talent. To achieve this, creativity is essential. King Sejong often posed charade questions to scholars who have to research and study hard to find the answers. His questions eventually helped them develop more open-minded worldviews. To realize enablement, I always stress the importance of lifelong learning for lifelong success and offer diverse opportunities to step to foster creative thinking. The fourth is stand for equity, a quality every CEO needs. A CEO must be fair and transparent about everything. In this regard, I emphasize Chunpung Chusang, a teaching from the classic text, Chae-geun-dam, referring to the value of being kind to others but harsh on oneself. Being fair and drawing a clear line between work and personal life are crucial for a CEO. This all comes down to finding the right people. I take pride in my achievement so far in building an organizational culture where employees are fairly evaluated based on empathy and everything is disclosed in a transparent way. The final E stands for ESG, or environmental, social, governance. Launched in the 15th century, capitalism is being transformed into stakeholder capitalism, meaning that management has changed from merely pursuing profit to seeking coexistence with nearby communities. When making decisions, companies must be aware that their customers, employees, shareholders, and communities are all watching them. That is why I stress social philanthropy and regular participation in charity activity, such as delivering free meals and charcoal briquette to those in need. By doing so, we naturally draw media spotlight to the company and contribute to raising its corporate value. I've just shared examples of my humane entrepreneurship as CEO of DGB Life Insurance. Though I still have a long way to go, my goal this year is to get such entrepreneurship to take firm root in the company. Thank you very much. 감사합니다.
Okay. Hopefully you can understand I think that I am proudly to say I am chairman of advisory committee of this company.
Thank you very much. Amazing presentation. Kishan, do you want to talk a little bit about it?
Okay. So then
I think you're on mute, Kishan.
Oh, really? Okay.
Or
No,
maybe
it's-
not on
we
mute,
can
but
hear
we
him.
can't hear you.
We can hear
Okay.
him.
Okay.
No,
So
we don't
am
hear you. Can you
proudly
hear
to
Kishan?
say
I hear Kishan.
We can
We-
hear
Okay.
Kishan.
We can hear him,
Okay.
Hyman.
it's okay. Okay, yeah. So anyway, I am proudly to say I am chairman of advisory committee for this company. After we applied the humane entrepreneurship to this company actually not only the performance but also engagement of employee are getting much better than before. So I am going to bring him to United Nations April the George Washington Forum again. So hopefully you can have a more opportunity to discuss. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kishan. I was worried there for a minute. I couldn't hear anything, but I heard you're bringing him to Washington, D.C., which is very exciting. So let's go back to the PowerPoint slides right here, and then I'll share them, and we can continue. So this is major for ICSB at number 10, humane entrepreneurship, and we are just honored and delighted that Dr. Kishan Kim, the founder of Humane Entrepreneurship, has continued this effort, and now you see a great example with the DG Group, the insurance group in Korea, as a best practice. They also won an ICSB award as well for the work they're doing. Let me move to number 7. Okay, let me go to the next slide. Number 7, the evolution of womenpreneurs, and something that is very important to ICSB. It continues to be important for us, and there's a lot of work that we do on it. We have a couple of speakers on this one here, but first, let me start with Dr. Katia Passerini, interim president of Seton Hall, to tell us a little bit about women entrepreneurs, and at number 7.
Yes, thank you, Ayman. So this is number 7 because Ayman described a democratic process when we make the top 10 list. If this was autocratic, this would be number 1. But there is the analogy is really good though, because there is room to move up. And the reason why there is room to move up is because there is more work to do. While women represent about half of the workforce population, they're still not equally represented in the economy. In fact, if you look at statistics from McKinsey, we know that the economy loses about 28 trillion of unrealized gains because of the lack of full participation of women in the workforce. So if women were participating, the GDP would increase to 136 trillion by 2025, instead of what is projected now to be 1.8 trillion. So I want us to continue to think that while we made progress, we still have substantial barriers for full participation of women, both in the workforce and also in startup businesses. And you know all the reasons, lack of funding, lack of support, work-life balance. But I think there are tremendous opportunities. That's why I think in the next years, we will continue to see this number climbing, because some of the challenges that we're facing today are also related to sectors or to needs that attract women and women entrepreneurs. Just about 20 days ago at Seton Hall, we had the largest state conference on mental health issue. Universities from across the state coming together to address what we call the new pandemic, which is mental health. If you think about the opportunities to launch new businesses to support students and the young population to deal with mental health issues, we see that there are maybe many more areas for startups and for other ideas or for market penetration. I mean, women are still a little low in the technology fields. They abound in the service sectors and necessity entrepreneurship, but I think that this is a trend that is going to change as we continue to increase needs for people-to-people interaction, for what Ki-chan had, as mentioned before, being humane entrepreneurship. I also want to underscore that we've been doing a lot of work in this area. The Journal for Small Business Management has published an article a couple of years ago on gender and entrepreneurship, a summary of research. It's among the top 10 cited articles, according to Taylor and Francis. So that shows a lot of need to continue research in this area. And also through ICSB, we have been able to partner in the last 3 years in promoting women entrepreneurship in different sectors through an event that takes place in a beautiful day, March 8th. And it's an event that celebrates International Women's Day, celebrates women worldwide. And we've been celebrating women as authors on entrepreneurship. And so we shared research. And this year, I'm happy to announce that partnering again with the ICSB, we will be celebrating women in the healthcare sector.
Great, fantastic, Katya. Absolutely. There's a lot of growth here, a lot of focus that needs to happen here. And this is just a start. But number 7 of the top 10 trends here is the evolution of womenpreneurs. You also mentioned that on March 8th, we will have the International Women's Day online webinar, and we'll both focus on women in the health sector, which is very critical here. Let's move to number 6 on the top trends of ICSB. And number 6, it's a new entry, but it kind of surprised us, but we saw it as being very important, and we have 2 speakers for this. So it's on the circular economy business models, and I'm going to defer to Vicky Stalianou to tell us a little bit about the circular economy business model, and then also our second speaker for this. So Vicky, I'll stop sharing. You said you had some slides?
Yes, I do. I don't know if I'll be able to share them, but let me try here.
Okay. If not, I can pull them up. Let me know.
Let me, yeah, are you able to pull them up? Because
Yeah, just 1 second. Let me see if I can just pull them up. Yeah,
it doesn't really matter. I
have. Yeah, I have. I'll just pull them up right now.
I'll just start talking. Circularity, and it's great to see circularity and circular business models debuting on the top 10 at number 6. So most of you are familiar with the concept of circularity, circular economy, circular business models. It's something that's been around since the 1970s, but it's gaining a lot more traction. And more businesses and people are starting to talk about circularity and trying to implement circular business models. However, what we have found is that there is a gap in terms of the circular global economy. There is a lot of measurement that's starting to be done, and there's more and more research and work being put into how do you measure the circular economy. We've got material flow analysis, and it's really starting to get a lot of traction. The World Economic Forum has really picked it up in a really big way and is doing a lot more work in terms of implementation. Thank you. And I have some diagrams here just to explain what circularity is. If you just keep rolling through them, Iman, you'll see this is probably a very well used diagram about circular economy. So we've moved from the linear economy to the recycling economy to the circular economy. This is essentially where we take materials and inputs, we repurpose them, remanufacture, reuse them, and we reduce waste. It's something that cuts across all the SDGs. It's something that incorporates a lot of the other trends that we've been talking about. So just keep rolling through it, and I'll just keep talking. The principles of circularity, you know, a lot of it relies on eliminating waste. And it's really quite interesting if you look at the statistics, because about 90% of the materials that are used in the global economy are not reused. So they're what they call virgin materials. So the opportunity for circularity, for reuse and reducing waste is huge. And the Circle Economy Foundation, they put out a report every year that measures the circularity gap. And what they have found is that the gap is actually getting wider. So in other words, we're going backwards. So even though circularity as a concept is getting more and more popular, in fact, we seem to have problems across the global economy of implementing and using business models that really pick up on circular themes and the circularity principles. So a lot more work needs to be done. And I think as we approach 2030, it's going to become obviously a much more sort of urgent problem. So, and you know, if anyone's interested, they can have slides later. There's just some graphical ideas of how it works. And then we go to the business models, and there are, like, the World Economic Forum has looked at this as well, and there's lots of different sort of ways of looking at it. But some of the business models that are relevant to small businesses, micro businesses, and in fact even large businesses start with really the design of the product or the design of the service. So you have to think about it from the very, very beginning. So it's not just a case of retrofitting, it's a case of looking at what it is that you're designing, what it is that you're putting out to your customers, and trying to build in circularity at that very, very early stage. Another popular concept for business models is around the sharing economy. And as the sharing economy as a concept becomes more and more popular, it's a case of, for example, taking some of the assets that we have around us and then reusing them, whether it's renting them out rather than just buying and using and disposing. It's how can we put them back into the supply chains? How can we put them back into the marketplace? And the sharing economy is really a great platform for being able to do that. Another business model that's become really popular is product as a service. And this is where, instead of, again, just having that sort of linear sort of buying something and then using it and disposing of it, this is where customers can purchase a service for a particular time, and then that incentivizes those who produce the product to look after it better, to be able to design it in a better way, to treat the end of it in a much better, more circular kind of way. So it shifts the focus basically from volume to performance. And what we're really looking at is extending the useful life of services. And so that's another very popular business model. Another one is product use extension. This has also become more popular. And you see it with things like, for example, Nokia phones is one example, where you don't just buy a phone, use it, throw it away, or try to recycle it. It's actually taken back by Nokia, and they have a very, very different process of recycling, reconditioning, disassembling, and reusing more of the parts. Another great case study is IKEA, the Swedish company that makes furniture and all things for the home. They have partnered with different foundations and you know, different collaborators to really, really look at putting circularity into every step of their production line, of the life cycle, of the supply chain. So they're a great example of some of the circularity that's been going on. And the last one I'll mention is resource recovery. And this is also very much looking at the end use and the end value of products and then putting them back into the supply chain. So those are just some of the types of business models that are used. As I said, the World Economic Forum has got some great materials and resources on this, as have many, many others. The other one that I would mention again is the Circle Economy Foundation. So I'll leave it at that. And this just talks about these slides just go through some of the things that I've already mentioned.
Okay, so I'll stop sharing here. This is an important trend that we've identified here that we will continue to work on. And this is important, and it's led by our incoming chair, Vicky Stalianou of ICSB. And we have another speaker here, and he's been waiting patiently here, but he has a good time here. It's only 1 o'clock in Korea or 2 o'clock. It's not like really, really late here. So I'd like to introduce Mr. Choi Jae-ho, Secretary General of the Hyundai Motor Chungmongko Foundation. Mr. Choi, are you there? And greetings.
Okay, can I share my presentation?
Of course, yes. You have share access.
Can you see it?
Almost there. Yes, we see it. Go ahead.
Okay, today I'd like to introduce the H-on Dream Startup Ground, which Hyundai Motor Chungmongko Foundation has conducted for the past 12 years to develop the social enterprise ecosystem and to nurture entrepreneurship of social entrepreneurs in Korea. And first of all, let me briefly tell you about what is the Hyundai Motor Chungmongko Foundation.
Yeah. Can you put this in presenter mode? It's in the, yeah, it's that little button there. Yeah.
Is it okay?
Excellent. Yeah, now it's, oh, yeah, excellent. Go ahead.
Okay. Believing that a sustainable future begins with people, Hyundai Motor Chungmongko Foundation operates 3 platforms projects: people, space, knowledge. The people platform is Hyundai Motor Chungmongko Scholarship, that fosters talents who can solve future social problems in Korea and in ASEAN countries. And space platform operates On Dream Society, a complex cultural space that communicates with the future generations and shares information and knowledge and experiences to solve social problems in Seoul. And the knowledge platform is a green society that selects and nurtures entrepreneurial researchers who want to solve climate change problems through climate technology. And the Hyundai Motor Chungmongko Foundation was established in 2007 with the personal contributions of Hyundai Motor Group Honorary Chairman Jung Mong-gu. Honorary Chairman Jung Mong-gu believes that the growth of the company is due to the support of society. And in order to return the love he received from society, he established public foundation, kind of a family foundation, with a donation of $640 million, which is one of the biggest foundation in Korea. Inheriting the founder's philosophy of social contribution, the foundation is growing into a global foundation that pursues social change and innovation by caring for the underprivileged in society and nurturing talents who can solve future social problems. The mission of the foundation is to contribute to the benefit of humanity and society, and our vision is to create a sustainable world with the next generation. And this is brief journey of Hyundai Motor Chungmongko Foundation. Over the past 60 years, we have implemented 240 billion won in project expenses, and the number of beneficiaries has reached 1 million. In particular, we have started 3 major platform projects since 2021, and now we are growing into a global foundation that leads social change and innovation. The main business of the foundation can be broadly divided into future innovation platform and social contribution platform. The future innovation platform consists of people, space, and knowledge platforms. And the social contribution platform consists of arts and culture, education, and medical care. Now I'd like to talk about the foundation's efforts to foster social entrepreneurs in Korea. H-on-Dream Startup Ground project supports social entrepreneurs who aspire to create a better future through innovative business models. Track A is an incubating program for early stage startups, selecting 20 teams annually and providing up to 100,000 US dollars in prize money. Track B is an accelerating program for growth stage startups, selecting 20 teams annually and offering them support of up to 200,000 US dollars. Track C, operating at the collective impact level, supports consortia of collaborating stakeholders for social innovation. So we provide up to 300,000 US dollars for each team. So annually, 43 or 50 teams can be selected. Until now, we selected 350 teams. If an impact startup that wanna solve social problems is selected as an H-on-Dream fellow, it will be provided with the following 6 nurturing programs. We hold office hours to discuss diverse topics relevant to impact startups and provide consulting service, classes, and meetings, working with the top-tier experts. In addition, we help our fellows to network with each other and help them connect to investors through IR consulting. And we also provide a liaison with expert advice, such as legal, patent, and technology. This chart shows how we collaborate with the partners in order to help impact startups and strengthen Korean impact ecosystem. We closely work with the public sector, in particular the Korean Ministry of Employment and Labor, Korea Social Enterprise Promotion Agency, and local government offices. In private sector, we work with Hyundai Motor Group, which helps R&D and marketing of impact startups, as well as invest in some of them. In social sector, we work with the professional organizations, especially MISC, that assist impact startups through consulting and networking services. Hyundai Motor CNK Foundation plays a role of a backbone organization, coordinating resources and efforts and catalyzing collective impacts through cross-sector partnership. Through this model, we attempted to pave a way for impact startups' success and contributed to build a sound impact ecosystem for all. For the past 10 years, CMK Foundation nurtured 334 impact startups through H-on-Dream program. H-on-Dream Fellows startups created 5,239 new jobs. In addition, 84% of impact startups we supported have survived so far. Considering that only 20% of impact startups survive in South Korea, this is a remarkable accomplishment. Moreover, they secured 200 million US dollars funding from impact investors and Korean government. Finally, let me talk about the entrepreneurial spirit of impact startups. Impact startups are businesses that generate positive impact on society and the environment through their business activities. Their entrepreneurial spirit can be summarized as opportunities, courage, and positive mind. They seek opportunities in societal challenges rather than crises, and sometimes they get lost and struggle in the process of pursuing those opportunities. However, they persist until the end, enduring with a positive mindset, embodying an unwavering pioneering spirit. I think that this is their success factor in Korea. And the role of the Hyundai Motor Jeongmongu Foundation is to support and encourage these change makers, impact startups to grow further and contribute to solving even greater social problems. Okay, this concludes brief introduction of H1 Dream Startup Ground. I have a very short video. So is it possible sharing
Yes,
this
yes,
video?
yes, of course, yes.
Yes, then I try.
Okay. I think you need to stop sharing the PowerPoint and then share the video next.
Can you see this video?
No, you need to stop sharing the PowerPoint. So stop sharing the PowerPoint and then share the video next.
Okay, I see.
Is it a separate video or is it in the PowerPoint?
Then I'll.
Okay, we see the video now. Yeah, now if you want to
Okay.
play it.
Is it working?
But there's no music or voice.
저 청장님,
네네.
저 청장님, 이거 시작할 때 거기에
네네.
저 소리를 체크를 해야지 소리가 나거든요. 시작할 때
네네.
거기
So you might want to
그
play
공유할 때,
music.
이거 공유할 때.
공유할 때 밑에 소리 공유를 체크를 해야 돼요.
네. 체크가 안 되는데.
밑에 밑에 옵션이 있어요. 소리
네.
거 있죠, 그냥 그걸 소리 해야 공유가 돼요.
I'm not familiar with Zoom.
Yes.
Yeah, Hyundai Motor Company.
Okay, so when you click on share screen, there's a button on the left-hand side that says share sound and optimize for video. So when you go find the file, there's a two little check boxes that says share sound and optimize for video. Do you see it when you say share screen? On the left corner.
I couldn't check the box. It's not activated. So.
Okay. Okay.
없이 하죠. Without the sound, it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we just play without the sound. We'll see how that goes.
사운드 없이 합시다. 네.
Hold on, please. I'm sorry. I'm.
It's okay. If you can maybe send us the video later, we will share it as part of the video. We'll incorporate it in. But listen, there's a couple of firsts here. First of all, this is the first time we present a foundation like this, which is very important as part of our top 10 trends. So the idea that came to me, you all do very amazing work, and the impact is very high. And as Vicky will say, you know, you're giving back. There's a circular part to this. Is when you create, then you give back to society. It comes full circle. So as a trend, this is important. This is something. It's not just about the product. It's about also the people and giving back to society. So the combination of both are very important. The innovation there is very important as well. And I remember when I visited you over there, and you shared with me a small little gift, which was a wallet made out of recycled leather of car seats. And I share it with my students, and I tell them, this is made of the leather of car seats. And this is what a company in Korea did. This is as circular as you get. You take a car seat, you take its leather, recycle it, and make a beautiful wallet of it. And it had a warranty to it. It had a nice packaging. So it was, you know, something of value, something that you want to hold on to. So This is a continuation. I think this is a start of a bigger discussion here. So we welcome you to continue on your efforts, but also ICSB will support you with your endeavors and to send out the global message. It's part of the trends now, so a lot of people will be asking us questions on it. So be ready when we reach out to you saying, hey, there's more interest coming from this country, from that country, they want to know more. So be ready for that. So congratulations. And for the sake of time, as we are moving forward, we are now at the halfway point. So the delivery economy and the agility of MSMEs, I think this has captured us by storm. And I want to give this to Winslow Sargent to talk a little bit about the delivery economy. Dr. Winslow.
Well, thank you, Ayman. Thank you for hosting this and giving us the opportunity to really discuss these trends. And I'm pleased to discuss number 5, the delivery economy meets MSMEs. This is a new entry, delivery economy and the agility of MSMEs. In 2024, the delivery economy stands out as a game-changing trend for MSMEs. This trend reflects a significant shift in consumer preference, where virtually everything is delivered directly to the consumer's doorstep. With an emphasis on convenience, speed, and proximity, the delivery economy is transforming traditional business models and presenting unprecedented opportunities for MSMEs. And the great thing about the logistics, and we saw this especially under COVID, where the gap of how to get a product to the customer, we had to go to where the consumer was, and so now it's expected that as part of the business model that you have to customize the preference and make sure that you can deliver goods and services to the home, to the doorstep, as pointed out. And so in this dynamic landscape, MSMEs are like boats, right? They're agile and nimble, while big businesses are like massive ships. So the agility of MSMEs enables them to adapt swiftly to the demand of the delivery economy. They can provide personalized, rapid, and seamless delivery experiences, meeting the expectation of consumers who prioritize speed and convenience. The adaptability positions MSMEs to navigate and thrive in a fast-paced waters of this trend, capturing new markets and fostering customer loyalty. And so we're pleased that this has made the list. And the great thing about this as well is that it's not just localized to large cities, it's also localized to the rural areas as well. And so it's hard to monopolize this business model because it's everywhere, whether it's rural, whether it's in the cities, whether it's in the coastal areas. Those who are our customers, those who are our consumers, they want their products to be delivered to where they are as well. And so that's why we're very excited that this has made the list.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Winslow. This is very important. And believe it or not, the delivery economy is going to give MSMEs an edge now, because before we thought only big businesses can be doing deliveries to your home. They can be doing it with all their trucks and all the delivery. But now small companies, small shops can say, I can do delivery as well. You want it, you can come to me right away and I can deliver it to your house. And that gives us an edge again for MSME. So this is an up and coming trend, which I think is very important. And let me switch to number 4, agribusiness and ag tech for MSMEs. And I'm going to cover this one because I was gotten information from the expert, but unfortunately they're traveling. And what he shared to me, and it's funny because today in the news, you can see what's happening in Europe. You can see what's happening with tractors protesting. The farmers are protesting. They're blocking the roads in France. They're blocking the roads in other places around the world because agriculture is in an upheaval. The government, the farmers, agriculture is everything is changing. The rules are changing, you know, and the climate is impacting some of the policies for farmers, which is affecting the way they do business, which is affecting their relationship with the governments here. But at number 4, our trend that we see this as changing for MSMEs is agribusiness and agtech for MSMEs. And what we mean by agribusiness, which basically refers to the business and the commercial aspects of agriculture, including farming, processing, marketing, and distribution of agricultural products. So the whole kind of ecosystem of it all. Agtech, short for agricultural technology, encompasses the use of technology and innovation to improve agricultural processes and efficiencies, such as precision farming, irrigation, management, and livestock monitoring. Together, agribusiness and agtech, if you bring them together, you have a whole different new industry. The rules are changing, the way business is conducted is also changing, and it can create for more productivity, it can create for more sustainability. It also feeds into the circular economy and the social aspect of it, and profitability, you know. And for a long time, agriculture people you had 2 sides of the story. It's not profitable, saying yes, sometimes it is profitable. So at number 4, ICSB sees this as a trend for 2024. We're going to see more on this discussion happening because of what's happening in the climate. So this is one of the major side effects to it. Let me go to number 3. Artificial intelligence and the Gen AI. I think I am old to discuss this. I think everybody's old to discuss it. We have 2 young people, experts, that will lead us on this because they are the future for this. So I'm going to hand it over to Sky and Kyle to kind of share their views on our number 3 trend for MSMEs, artificial intelligence, and Gen AI. Sky, Kyle, the floor is yours.
Yep. Hi, everyone. So really great to talk about this topic. I know everyone's heard about last year really coming into fruition, being a main stake in everyone's life with the advent of ChatGPT. I'm sure those are academics have been fighting in the classroom with the students or embracing it. Either way, it's been something that we are now living with. But this hasn't been the case. It's been something that's been existing throughout the years. And Kyle will touch a little bit more about you know, where we're going with it, and I'm going to talk about the what. And so talking about the what, it's a tool. It's a essential new tool for small businesses to be able to apply in their businesses, almost as essential as a website. And so you can't do business without a website in the age of the internet. And now we're seeing this with generative AI and artificial intelligence. And so the generation of workers is what generative AI stands for, and looking to see how workers are embracing this. How is small businesses taking these tools and making it optimized for their respective businesses? So I have a list of different cases that we looked through this past year and that have worked for small businesses and how it's taking course in the future. And so, you know, we looked at customer service enhancements through chatbots. And this was a small boutique hotel chain in Cartagena, Colombia. They implemented Zendesk, which is AI-driven chatbots. And the outcome was basically more efficiency with their customer inquiries, such as booking modifications and recommendations that were already automated based on the user experience. Using multiple languages in a hotel business, as we talked about in the previous trends with tourism, you're dealing with different customers, and so it was able to adapt to different languages, as well as 24/7 availability. So if you're in a different time zone, you want to book a stay in Cartagena, but you're in Korea, then you are able to still have access to that representative. Employees were able to focus on more complex goals. So there's fear of AI replacing employees, but using employees in a different way is the way to go for small businesses that want to optimize their employees' times. Another use case was marketing and the revolution with AI-powered data analysis. So a coffee shop, coffee roastery in Portland, Oregon, was utilizing HubSpot for AI-driven customer data analysis. So understanding customer preferences, using personalized email campaigns, and predictive analytics were used to identify the high-value customers and enhancing target marketing efforts. And so this resulted in actually a 30% increase in online sales within 6 months. And this is just using this plugin. And so this application that uses AI to train the model allowed them to really take it to the next level. Another use case we found was inventory management. And so optimizing your AI to manage the inventory of a grocery store in Germany. They adopted this application called Blue Yonder, which is AI-powered inventory management system. Uses logarithms to accurately predict demand patterns and reduce stocking and stockouts. And so this replenishes and saves lots of money, reduces waste, and it applies to the Sustainable Development Goals. And one of the last ones we talked about was financial insights and fraud detection. So e-commerce startups in Japan were using, automated services like QuickBooks to find out accounting and fraud detection, automating their expenses, and moving forward with that. But I wanted to hand it over to Kyle to talk about where we're going with this and why.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Sky. To build upon what Sky's overview on how AI is currently used in different applications, I particularly want to dive deeper and understand why is this trend not only persisting, but also intensifying. So a traditional way of thinking of artificial intelligence and pretty much how most of the world is considers it is AI as artificial intelligence, but a more contemporary way of thinking of it is to switch the letters around and call it intelligence amplifier, or you could say cognition amplifier, but intelligence amplifier kind of flows a bit better. Because we're talking about a tool that doesn't just mimic human intelligence, but it actually boosts it. So if you could kind of picture AI as a bicycle for the mind, much like how a bicycle can extend our physical capabilities, AI expands our cognitive reach, and as an example, Sky presented in data processing, ideation, or just general problem solving. Another contemporary view of AI today can be likened to the role of electricity during the Industrial Revolution. Just as electricity transformed industries and our daily lives, AI is the catalyst for a new wave of innovation. So for MSMEs, the question, what can you do with AI, is an open-ended and as promising of a question as what can you do with electricity once was in the 20th century. And what particularly we're focusing on is generative AI, which is especially proving to be this electrical spark powering human creativity and innovation in ways that MSMEs are beginning to explore. And they're exploring them in many unique ways. Today, MSMEs are not only using large language models, obviously, which most people are familiar with if you use a tool like ChatGPT or any of the other chatbots, but also through you have vision models, action models, and other modalities that AIs are being trained on. Personally, I think one of the more intriguing ongoing developments is the rise of AI agents, which is right now kind of the Wild West of AI, but essentially they're designed to autonomously plan and execute steps to fill complex tasks prompted by the user by chaining different AIs from different modalities together to almost mirror human problem solving, which will be especially useful for people who are trying to do startups and you have maybe need a pair programmer, perhaps you need someone that you can bounce ideas off of. You kind of create these agents that can work with you almost as if it was pretending to be a human, pretending to be an analyst of some sort, for example. Another trend within this trend is the emergence of localized AI and the development of smaller open source. We're talking 1 to 10 billion parameter models that can run these models on local devices and servers, will allow MSMEs to gain more advantages in privacy, less latency, and just more control over their data. And this will just help democratize AI because MSMEs can tailor their tools more specifically to their needs without to be independent of having used larger corporations' APIs and having to surrender their data to big tech companies. And my last point will be, although large companies have the advantage in distributing products to a larger user base, and as well as they usually have larger compute resources, they're not always the one driving AI innovation. MSMEs, might I remind you that this LLM technology was not originally developed by a leading tech giant or big corporation. MSMEs in this case are the ones that are being exceptionally agile in a way to quickly decide and when and how to implement new technologies, and that's what really, I believe, was pushing the field forward. And so we see that an example of some of the influx of AI startups, usually led by people who more seasoned AI experts, and you see them rapidly growing. So some of those examples would be 11 Labs IO, Mistral AI, and Perplexity AI. So I would just say MSPs aren't just participants in the AI revolution, but they're also in the forefront and shaping its direction and its potential. Thank you for the time.
Absolutely, absolutely fantastic, Sky and Kyle. Amazing presentation, amazing explanation of it. And with that, you have captured the potential and how MSMEs can engage in this. For us, I'll give you a little bit of a preview of what's coming in the next month. And ICSB, in collaboration with one of those MSME startups, will launch the first AI for entrepreneurs for starting their businesses. So now entrepreneurs coming to ICSB will use AI to help them start their own business. So it will be their own expert saying, if you want to start a business, that you ask some questions to the AI, and the AI will tell you what needs to happen to make it happen. So we're excited to be launching this in the next month or so. We've been working on this for quite some time. So we have two more. The second one is a heavy one here, and I want to give it to our chair for ICSB Congress in Berlin, Dr. Hartenmeier, and he'll talk about the number 2 trend, which is peace for economic development and prosperity. Dr. Meyer, the floor is yours.
Yes, good morning, ladies and gentlemen from Germany. I think this is just a topic which we just already reckoned in our own history, but we can see it all over the world. As the foundation of entrepreneurship and economic development is peace. Only peace provides the necessary stability and security for entrepreneurship to develop and to thrive. Regions plagued by conflict, business faces constant risks and uncertainties, and having it difficult to plan, invest, to grow. Entrepreneurship often divided in resources towards safeguarding their interests rather than innovating or expanding. Only peaceful environments allow entrepreneurs to focus on their core activities, fostering an atmosphere to contrive to economic development. History bears witness to this positive circus that peace sets the motion of many countries. Micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises are often the first one to re-engage in entrepreneurial activities, and that you can always see also in post-war countries, that only activities during peacetime. So there they are revitalizing employment opportunities and initiating economic development. In peaceful nations, micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises can only further and acting as a catalyst for economic process by thriving trade, foreign investment, and the fostering of economic independence. Only when a nation engage in mutual beneficial trade, they not only stimulate their own economies, but they work also collaborative towards global peace through shared interests. Peace also nourishes social cohesion and collaboration, which are indispensable for entrepreneurship. In societies marked by peace, individuals are more inclined to cooperate, share knowledge, and embark on collective ventures. The spirit of cooperation is the fundamental of generating innovative solutions and to trigger challenge and nourish the dynamic economic entrepreneurial ecosystem. Furthermore, peaceful substantially contributes to human capital of development. Peaceful environments provide a widespread access to education and skill-building opportunities, which result in a more skilled and adaptable workforce. A well-educated and flexible workforce is a paramount for entrepreneurship and its swift and to adapt to market changes and to innovate innovations forward. Lastly, peace a pivotal role in infrastructure development. In peaceful regions, governments can only allocate resources toward constructing and maintaining essential infrastructure such as road, ports, and communication network. Adequate infrastructure diminishes the cost of doing business and enhancing competitiveness for entrepreneurs on a global stage. So in a sense, the opening sentence in this one we just talked, peace for economic development and prosperity, combines the profound truth that the foundation of entrepreneurship and economic development is irrevocably bound to peace. This peace is not only desperately needed in regions such as the Ukraine or in the Gaza Strip, but also an imperative for the global community as a whole to strive and to prosper further. As we reflect on the critical role that peace plays in fostering entrepreneurship and economic growth, let us recommit ourselves to the pursuit of peace as a common aspiration, recognizing that only peace fosters prosperity and also paves the way for a more harmonious and equitable world for us all. Thank you very much indeed for your attention.
Thank you, Dr. Hartman. Very important, very eloquent as our number 2 trend for 2024, peace for economic development and prosperity. And it is our second most important trend for 2024. We hope we find peace this year for all conflicts around the world. Our number 1 trend for 2024, and the one that we have discussed and realized that we are the most excited about as a trend here, is MSMEs forming collaborative alliances. I'm going to ask Dr. Winslow to talk a little bit about this, and I'll share my final thoughts, and we'll end the session hopefully on time. Dr. Winslow, share with us the number 1 trend for 2024.
Well, thank you, President Terabishi. What we found is that with MSMEs, they're starting to form alliances out of a need for many reasons. For example, for supply chain, to be in order to get the best pricing that large businesses get, many companies have to buy in volume. But in order to buy in volume, you have to collaborate with other similar companies that need the same type of products. And so this is one example of where, to get the purchasing power that large businesses may have, we're seeing more MSMEs come together around a common cause, whether it's petitioning for financing to get the best rates, because we know that there's normally a volume discount across the board. And in order to get that means you have to buy things in volume, you have to buy things in bulk. And so we're seeing more MSMEs work that way, to have the benefits that the large businesses had a monopoly on, but at the same time, because they're small and they're nimble, they want to have the same type of purchasing power. So that's just one example that we're seeing, that MSMEs are coming together around a common cause. They don't view each other as a competitor, but they view each other as a collaborator, and and that seems to be working out. Ayman?
Thank you. And the best analogy that we want to say to it is we share the story of David versus Goliath. And you can say that that was just a myth and that happened, and really in reality it doesn't happen. But let's extend this story a little bit here. Let's extend the story of David versus Goliath and talk a little bit about, what about 1 million Davids? What about 10 million Davids? What about 1 billion Davids coming together? Do you think they have a chance against Goliath then? Right? And the idea of forming these alliances cuts across technology, cuts across cultures, cuts across all the different challenges that we have. And with that, our number 1 trend, we hope that this trend gets people to think about how to create alliances and to foster them more. And we are going to Berlin for our World Congress, and that's a place where we create alliances with a lot of people. So you're all welcome to our World Congress in Berlin that Dr. Hartman is doing. We also are going to Geneva for MSME Day with Dr. Rico Badreger and Fribourg and in Geneva. So we will have that event. We have an event also coming in Washington, D.C. as well. We have an event in Fiji, and so on and so on. Alliances are a mindset. And with that, our number one trend is about collaborative alliances. And I'm going to stop here. We're exactly on time, 11:30, and I'm strict on time. I want to thank all the panelists that have joined us and all the participants. This is the inaugural one. We've innovated it here. I appreciate your time. I want to thank you all for a successful launch of our ICSB Top 10 Trends. More is going to come out of it, and more dialogue will happen. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Have a wonderful night, everybody.